in the country, one of the hottest teams in America. Wes Miller told us today, hey, just a couple of points would have us maybe ranked 10th today. Instead, we've lost 2 straight, and we need this one on the road. As for Baylor, they're coming off a loss at Iowa State. They are desperate just as well when it comes to conference progress. Omier, pick and roll, finds Ojamuna off the window to 2.
Well, they play 2 bigs. Baylor does up front, Omier and Ojamuna, and you love the spacing, you love the attack of the rim. Baylor has not shot it well from 3 in their last 2 games, but they have shot a volume. So it's good to see the emphasis early going to the rim.
Top of the key, Jizzle James hesitates. Lukosius on the left wing, shot clock at 3. Here goes James, rejected by Norshad Omier. 0.7 seconds left on the shot clock. Cincinnati's gonna have to do something quick.
Omier is playing at a first-team all Big 12 level. He is relentless. He never stops playing. What a defensive play.
James, another deflection, shot clock violation.
And a good defensive possession for Baylor. You know, both these teams in their 2 Big 12 games have struggled on that end, and they've really had a hard time keeping teams in front, getting down in a stance, defending the basketball.
Bottom of your screen, you see Baylor's starting lineup. The team is without Jalen Celestine. They are also without Langston Love tonight. Depth is going to be possibly an issue, Chris.
Yeah, well, and you got to stay out of foul trouble. I mean, that's the first thing for Baylor. You cannot afford to get into foul trouble tonight. And there's an early one there on Roach, just trying to reach. Again, that's been a problem, and it's been a problem for Jeremy Roach. You know, their last 2 games, he has had a hard time containing the ball off of the dribble.
Lukosius, who was looking to get off the schneid from deep, goes to Skillings. Now it's back to Lukosius. His 3, much needed. Nice for him to see the ball go through the basket.
Sure is. He's had a tough start to Big 12 play shooting the basketball, and part of it is scouting. You know, teams are crowding him. They're aware of him off of screens. Good to see one go in.
Yeah, life at the top of the scouting report gets a little different. Omier on the block, working on Mitchell, is rejected. Bandago, his 38th block of the year. Taken away by Baylor. Here's Omier, coast to coast. Can't finish. None battles with Lukosius. They slide on the floor. This is Big 12 play. Jump ball, possession goes to Cincinnati.
You know, it's both these teams put really 2 non-shooters out there, their front lines. But in Cincinnati's case, they'll play 5 out, so there's great spacing, and Bandago, 55 in black, puts tremendous pressure as a lob threat on the front of the rim.
Nobody in America has as many dunks. Getting that back door. Then Bandago is a miss by Cincinnati. Sees Roach fired up court to Omier. The long touchdown pass is completed.
Great run of the floor, and that's, you know, one of the things Scott Drew was emphasizing earlier today is playing ahead of Cincinnati's defense. Cincinnati's really long in the half court defensively.
There was that lob, backdoor to Bandago. Roach was all over it as we take a look at the last
And a really good feed here and a great run of the floor. I mean, just a really nice job by Omier getting out ahead of the defense. And how about the touch over the top by Jeremy Roach?
So 2 free throws coming up for Bandago for a team that has been struggling from the charity stripe. 67% on the year for the big fella. Knocks down his first. Second one coming for Bandago.
Those are big makes. The foul line's been an issue for Cincinnati. Not only have they not shot it well, they have not really gotten there as much as their opponents. They're minus 21 from the foul line in their 2 games, which they lost by a combined 8 points. So the foul line has been a real issue for Cincinnati.
Skillings and Nunn tango. Nunn with that quick first step to the 10 has 2.
Everything to the basket for Baylor.
Lukosius inside. Bendego controls, meets a double team, gets it out for James. Shot clock now going on 15. James bodies with Roach. Deflection. Shot's no good. Edgecombe goes into the team bench to save it, and Baylor benefits. Nunn tees up a 3. Splash. Mitchell spins into a double team, picks up his dribble, whips across court to James. James hesitates and works on O'Meara. Gets high but can't get the teardrop to fall. Follows it with his own rebound. Lukosius, great pump fake. Everybody in the gym jumped. Rattles out, but who else? Bendego slams it home.
2 of the top 4 offensive rebounding teams in the Big 12. Baylor's the top offensive rebounding team. And so anytime a shot goes up, you have got to find a body.
Two-point game. O'Meara finds himself in the paint. That's his comfort zone. Didn't look so comfy. He finished off with 2.
Plays a lot bigger than his size. Listed at 6'7", 240. He is pound for pound one of the strongest individuals in college basketball. And what touch off of the glass there.
8 of 11 points for Baylor in the paint speaks to the physicality we talked about off the top, Chris. Lukosius from deep. Around and out. Bendego with the offensive board again. Jizzle James from the mid-corner. Knocks it down.
Second chances have been such a big part of both offenses. Neither team, again, they have not shot it well from 3.
Roach controls just inside the timeline where he's met by Jizzle James. Edgecombe trying to get the entry pass down to O'Meara. Turnover.
You hustle, you play hard, and the game has a way of rewarding you. What a save there by the freshman VJ Edgecombe. Baylor out and run. Jaden Nunn, we'll take that. Little step up 3. He's wet from deep. That's where the strength of both of these teams lies.
And we see the strength of schedule for Baylor, 29th in all of Division I. It has been a tough road to hoe early on for the Bears, competition-wise, and that's why they sit at 9-4. On the other side, we mentioned 10-3 Cincinnati, ranked 16 just last week. 2 heavyweights duking it out tonight in Central Texas. Dan Skillings controls, top of the key. Bendego battling with Ojamwina. Foul is called. That'll be on Ojamwina.
And you don't need it if you're Ojamwina. With guys hurt, you don't have the depth you usually have. Just be tall and big in there and force Bendego to shoot it over the top of your length. There's no need to be overly physical at that point.
3 early team fouls for Baylor. Lukosius out of the corner. Gets whacked by Edgecombe. Second foul on VJ.
Looked like Ojamwina, actually, that foul. And, part of it is Baylor switches 1 through 5. And so you end up, those bigs for Baylor, you end up with them matched up on the perimeter having to guard a perimeter player. And so you get 2 quick ones there from Ojamwina, 2 critical fouls.
Roach hits the deck, gives a little more breathing room to Skillings off the inbound. Day Thomas into the basketball games. Skillings thought about the deep 3. Instead tries to muscle it to the rack before dropping it off. Knocked out of bounds, last touch by Baylor, will stay here. Substitutions coming on the floor for Cincinnati. and we saw Ojamuna go off the court. Chris, that could be an issue for Baylor. The foul trouble up front, because we talked about the interior playing such a huge role tonight.
Well, you don't have Jalen Celestine, a guy who comes in and plays that stretch 4 position for them. So you just don't have the depth up front you typically do.
Betsy from deep in the corner, way over. Omier grabs the rebound. The nation's active leading rebounder adds 1 more to his total career-wise. He's got 2 tonight. Coming up on 13 minutes here left in the first half. Baylor up 2. Runner from Edgecombe falls short. Rebound. Hickman races into the forecourt. Here's Day Thomas. He is so quick. Turnover from Mitchell. Jason Asamoah into the basketball game for Baylor as they work to find some of that depth tonight. We mentioned with Langston Love out of the game and Celestine also out. Edgecombe gets the screen. Rolling to the basket is Omier. Edgecombe keeps it himself. Second short floater missed by him. Into the forecourt goes Day Thomas. Oof, like a surgeon, cannot finish. And here comes Rob Wright spinning out of the pack. Boy, Rob Wright, that ball is like a yo-yo. Great dish and a finish from Omier.
I've been so impressed with Rob Wright III. He had been playing so well, so efficiently. He wasn't great. I think he was humbled a little bit in that Iowa State game, but he runs their team. Anytime he touches the ball, something good usually happens. Just a nice little 2-man game. Finding that sliver of space to slip that thing in there to Omier. You get the big fella a layup and a foul shot.
7 points now for Norshad Omier. Finished with 9 against Iowa State. That's newsworthy because he's a guy who is a walking double-double. Only the first time this season he did not score double figures as Day Thomas drifts to the right side in front of the Baylor bench. Thomas slices to the hole, hits the deck hard. Ball is knocked out of bounds. 5-point advantage for Baylor. When we come back, we get to know Norshad Omier a little better.
I'm Justin Willman.
A trailblazer. And we see him as a trailblazer as a person. We just heard about that a little bit. You see that at the top of the graphic. But as far as statistically speaking, he's also breaking through.
He was a great get out of the portal for Scott Drew. I mean, a great culture guy. He's a relentless worker. And his production has been off the charts.
Long 3. Off the mark for Hickman. Asamoah can't handle it.
Kicked. I thought that got kicked by Arrington Page. Scott Drew feels the same unless he's stretching over there.
Quickly up the court is Day Thomas. Cincinnati shooting just 27% so far tonight. Thomas had Asamoah on his heels, draws the defense and finds Dylan Mitchell. His 3-point shooting has been gotten better. That was not a reflection of the improvement. Rhodes shimmies, goes to Edgecombe, knocks it down from the corner.
And that's playing inside out. Starts with the penetration, the paint touch from Roach, and then you kick to Edgecombe, who has not shot a great percentage from 3, but he shoots it with confidence, and you know that percentage is going to continue to go up. Baylor's relying heavily on 2 really talented freshmen in Edgecombe and Rob Wright, but they are still freshmen, and they still have freshman moments. But Edgecombe is really athletic, incredibly talented, and he's starting to make an impact defensively.
Cincinnati hasn't scored in 3.5 minutes. Lukosius from the elbow. Runner is off the mark. Rebound is ripped down. Another offensive board for the Bearcats. That one by Page, who finds Thomas for 3.
The offensive glass has been Cincinnati's best offense.
5 offensive rebounds for the Bearcats so far. Wright has a kick back in his face by Thomas. Knocked out of bounds to stay here.
You know, you hear so often that off the offensive board, it's the best time to shoot a 3, you know, because the defense is unsettled. You know, everybody's crashing the glass, the defensive glass. So if you stay disciplined on the perimeter, you're going to be open.
Baylor's got 5 assists, Chris, on 7 makes tonight. Shot clock at 5. Edgecombe activates. Corkscrews into the lane, absorbs some contact, finds a way to finish off the window.
And he had 2 shots in the paint earlier that came off of 1 foot. A little bit finesse. There, you play off of 2 feet. You're able to be a little bit more physical, use that pivot and that body. Nice job creating space.
Day Thomas, long 3, trying to make it 2 straight, rattles it home and does.
Been instant offense off of their bench. Guy who started for them last year, he's coming off the bench now. He comes in aggressive. And he and Jizzle James are kind of carbon copies in terms of how they play.
Baylor has hit on 3 of their last 3 field goals, 7 of their last 9. Roach thought it over. Gonna try it this time, off the heel. Thomas, clean look at a 3. Can he make it 3 straight? He can't. Opportunity was there. Edgecombe flying into the forecourt. He's got a couple of those a game. Knocks it down and is fouled.
When he attacks, good things happen. Like, he needs to play athletically all the time, not just in spurts or for a loud dunk. He's got to attack, because when he does, you're going to get a bucket. He'll get fouled. You got both of those on that play. He could be an offensive rebounder. You know, defensively, when he plays athletically, he's second in the league in steals. Came in with a really huge reputation for good reason. And I think after this Christmas break, we have started to see the flashes. Starting to see a little bit more consistency from VJ Edgecombe. 15
NBA scouts here tonight. All 15 are here to see VJ Edgecombe. Some other players as well, but he's the guy at the center of the radar. Six-point Baylor advantage. Jizzle James dribbles into the left corner, backs his way out. Lukosius, 3 is wide left. He has gone cold.
He's got to step in, and he's too deep. You know, part of his shooting issues.
Dago denies.
Part of Lukosius' shooting issues has been shot selection.
Sees part for James. Gliding to the hole, was whacked to the turf. No foul though, ball out of bounds. Asamoah, nice defense.
Aziz Bandaogo, he is all over your scouting report. You have got to know where he is. I mean, Ojanwuna, you're either going to dunk that or throw a shot fake. You've got to know that Bandago's coming.
Second block of the night for Bandaogo. Skilling's been quiet tonight on the left wing, top of the key. Thomas has been loud, off the window. No good, knocked out. Another offensive board for the Bearcats. Bombs away, good.
Somebody on Baylor's got to figure out how to keep Aziz Bandaogo off of the offensive glass, because his offensive rebounds are creating a ton of offense for Cincinnati.
7 offensive boards on the night for Cincinnati. Edgecombe, just enough daylight. Ojanwuna grabs the board. 5 on the shot clock though. Bears will have to hurry. What can Nunn do? Let's find out. Ojanwuna, offensive board, finds a cutting Nunn, top of the key to Edgecombe. goes to Roach. The two-time Duke captain will reset. Edgecombe again from three. We've seen him inside, we've seen him outside, we've seen a lot of success.
And you love the response coming off of the Iowa State game. Again, he did not play his best, but you love the response in this first half.
11 points for the freshman Edgecombe, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. James slides into the lane, just a little short. Asamoah skies for the board. Here's the lob. Ojanwuna brings it down and goes back up for 2.
And he got fouled. Early offense for Baylor's been a killer, and the offensive glass for Cincinnati has been a killer. It's a paint party. There's a party in the paint, and you're all invited. Aziz Bandago's there, tip out to Skillings, he's wet. And then the penetration, VJ Edgecombe, he is so wet from deep.
$11 points for VJ Edgecombe. He is a lit stick of dynamite, and it seems like he has exploded early on so far.
Yeah, he and Norchad Omier. Omier's been the consistent production all year for Baylor. Edgecombe, as a freshman will do, can be really up, has been down at times. He is back up here in his first half. And a lot of it having to do with he's in attack mode. I think at times he can be too finesse. But he has been in attack, and that three-point shot has come as a secondary option. It has come after playing inside out. And Jeremy Roach has done a nice job facilitating for Baylor in this first half. He's got 4 assists, a couple of those to Edgecombe. It's been a really efficient first half offensively for Baylor, and they've done a nice job defensively, packing the paint, forcing Cincinnati to have to play over top. Over half of Cincinnati's shots in this first half have been threes.
How can Cincinnati improve offensively?
You got to keep attacking, get the ball up on the glass. They've done a nice job keeping possessions alive. I think they've settled for too many perimeter J's.
Skillings follows your advice, Mr. Spatola, to no avail, knocked out of bounds.
Well, and then secondary penetration, that's not a good shot because he's going off of 1 foot away from the basket against 2 defenders. You kick, and then a secondary drive, a secondary penetration. You've got to get this Baylor defense in some sort of rotation, and Cincinnati has not been able to do that.
Edgecombe, wow, puts it in drive with the left hand, just misses. Omier finds a way to get the offensive board, may have shuffled his feet, no call, 2 points.
He's Debo in there, man. That's his bike and his chain. He never stops playing. He plays every play.
9 points on the night so far. Lukosius is tied up on the baseline. Kip Kissinger calls a jump ball. Baylor possession.
Lukosius does not seem right. You know, he hit that first three, and then he's 0 for 6 since. And that's just a soft play. I mean, you know, you got to be able, you drive that thing, you got to be able to go up and get at least a shot off.
Rob Wright staring into the eyes of Jizzle James as he crosses half court with Baylor on a 7-0 run. Edgecombe, 5 on the shot clock, goes left, splash.
You know, we can talk all we want about Cincinnati's offense. It's their defense that's the problem. They have not been guarding the basketball, and it's not just in this first half. Over the last 2.5 periods of basketball, Cincinnati's defense has not shown up. The base assumption of man-to-man defense is you have to be able to guard the ball. You have to be able to guard your matchup. And Connor Hickman there does not do that, does not keep the ball on the side. And that's been the problem for Cincinnati. In the game against Kansas State, it was the problem in the first half against Arizona. And it's one of the reasons they're losing the battle at the foul line. And they have not been able to guard the basketball. And Baylor has lived in the paint in this first half, and they're shooting 60% from the field.
20 points in the paint for Baylor. And Chris, I think you touched on something really important. You know, coming into the game, Cincinnati holding opponents to 60.5 points a game, one of the best defenses in the country. And as that defense goes, so goes their offense, generating turnovers, leading to points in transition. They've only turned Baylor over twice. That really does stifle some of that offensive production.
Well, and then you get nothing in transition because you're pulling the ball out of the net. I mean, when Baylor shoots 60%, you're having to inbound the basketball every time. You're not going to be able to get any easy stuff. So it's putting a lot of pressure on their offense to have to execute in a half court, which they have not been able to do consistently.
Bearcats have made just one of their last 7 field goal attempts. Thomas rotates to the right and surveys. Betsy controls, shot clock running out. Bandego will have to hurry, puts it on the floor. Shot clock violation.
You know, everything going east-west for Cincinnati, nothing going north-south, and a lot of that having to do with the switching of Baylor. When you switch, you're cutting off angles, and so you're able to keep the ball in front. Baylor does a nice job there. Cincinnati never able to get the thing going towards the basket.
O'Meara back into the basket on Bandego, who pokes it away. Goes into the hands of Skillings.
Here's the job by Baylor. And again, their defense has needed to take a step up, and it has in this first half. Look at the switching. I mean, you're aggressive with it. Good help coming over from Rob Wright. And at that point, the shot clock is wound down. Now, sometimes Baylor, when they've struggled defensively and they're switching, they get lazy with it. You know, you start pointing. When 2 defenders are coming together, you gotta touch almost to cut off the angle. Baylor at times can do what we call point switching, where you're pointing to your teammate saying, hey, you got him. And that's where you get those slips. You get a team that's able to turn the corner.
And they have had 2 shot clock violations on Cincinnati, Baylor has so far, and they continue to get them under 10 on the shot clock, which has got this offense for the Bearcats very discombobulated. Another miss from deep. Bandego, another offensive rebound. That's been a bright spot. Going back up, looks like he's fouled. Baylor up by 13. Free throws coming for the Bearcats.
Hey, Jacob. like Baylor does, you have got to be able to take advantage of the matchup. Aziz Bandaogo has Rob Wright in the post for about 15 Mississippis, and Cincinnati never gets him the ball, and you settle for a contested three. Now Bandaogo, who's doing yeoman's work on the offensive glass, ends up getting the ball. But if Baylor's going to switch 1 through 5, Pete, you have got to be able to fire that ball into Bandaogo, who's got about 9 inches on Rob Wright.
And you mentioned it. It was a pretty long amount of time that he was calling for it down there.
Those were Mississippis. What did you count in as a kid?
So I'm from Philadelphia. 1 Philadelphia, 2 Philadelphia. Bandaogo off the mark, one of the better free throw shooters on a Cincinnati team that has been struggling from the charity stripe. And this is another scenario, Chris. I mean, they got down early, talking about Cincinnati against Arizona at home on Saturday. The last thing you want to do is go into the locker room down by 16, 17 or more.
Well, and part of it, you know, Wes Miller has said the team has come out casual. They were casual against Kansas State. They were casual in the first half against Arizona. I don't think it's casual. I do think the lack of offense is affecting their defensive energy. I just think Baylor's, you know, game planned and has them kind of spinning here.
Rob Wright yet to score tonight. Muscles his way into the lane, gets tied up. We've got a whistle and a foul. Fouls on Thomas.
That's where Cincinnati, they're 0-2. They have Kansas next. This thing in this league can snowball quickly. That's how important this game was tonight for both teams, but certainly for Cincinnati to try to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, and I had heard Coach Miller mention that before the season. The key to this league, because it's so good, is that you can lose 5 straight because the competition is so good, and the key is to keep it to 2 straight and keep it from snowballing, as we see 2 there from Edgecombe. He now has 13 points. Check that. That was Roach with the basket. And with the steal, Edgecombe to Rob Wright. The freshman glides to 2.
These are inexcusable turnovers for Cincinnati. I mean, that's just an entry pass you're unable to make. Really good play by Roach. And then just easy stuff for Baylor off of their defense.
6 turnovers for Cincinnati, make it 7. As the defensive pressure continues to get turned up by Scott Drew and the Bears.
Turnovers obviously hurt your offense, but they also put a ton of pressure on your defense.
And Baylor taking care of the basketball. Just 8 turnovers against Iowa State. That wasn't the problem there on the road in Ames. Today also. Here's Roach spinning out of trouble. Lost the handle on it, and Skillings grabs it and heads up floor. Bearcats haven't had a field goal in almost 6 minutes. Lukosius inside for Mitchell. Mitchell falling out of bounds, stepped on the baseline.
Yeah, Cincinnati just looks confused, and credit Baylor, their defense has been energized. Part of it too is I don't know who Cincinnati wants taking shots. Like Dan Skillings, where are you at, man? Like he's only taken 3 shots in his first half. Like it's hard to say who the guy is right now that needs to kind of step into this thing. You think it'd be Skillings, but he's been quiet.
16-point advantage for Baylor. None in his 104th straight start. Whips it to Edgecombe, who grazes the rim with a long 3 in the face of Mitchell. Jizzle James. Coach Miller says he's one of the hardest working players he's ever coached. Here's Skillings. Whistle is blown by Michael Greenstein.
Baylor's defense has really forced Cincinnati to be one-on-one players. The offense for Cincinnati not creating guys into shots. So there's Skillings. I mean, he does a nice job drawing a foul, but he's just forced to have to dribble the air out of the basketball in order to get that done.
First free throw for Skillings, around and in.
Skillings, he missed 6 games, played in their first game, missed 6 games after that. Had such a great year last year, and he's starting to come alive. Even in the loss against Arizona, played so well. Had 6 offensive rebounds in that game. He's starting to take a jump.
Yeah, 18 points in 2 straight games, as you just touched on, Chris. And tonight, as that one goes around and out, has 3 points against Baylor. The floor general, Jeremy Roach, gets a screen from Ojanwuna. Rims out, Samoda scrambles for the rebound. Here's Rob Wright working on Mitchell. Wow, Wright spins into the lane, high off the glass, no good. Ojanwuna's tip back can't connect. Mitchell fights for it and comes down with it. Reed, 3 try from the southpaw, wide right.
That's not the shot you want.
All right, leaving James in his dust. Is knocked to the floor, no call. James tightropes, has the rebound. Game clock turned off, shot clock turned off, game clock at 20 seconds. Big possession here, you could trim it to 13 or possibly 12 before the end of the half. Cincinnati could use some positive momentum. James working on Asamoah. It's been that kind of half. Cincinnati. Skillings takes the baseline, loses the handle. Here's Jizzle James, runs into Ojanwuna, falling away, can't get it to fall. Edgecombe gathers the rebound, whistle is blown. Let's see what we got here. There's Wes Miller looking for an explanation. Kip Kissinger just off your camera, clearing it up. Baylor basketball.
Foul.
So the foul was called on Dylan Mitchell. Loose ball foul, yeah.
It's tough out of the halftime. You end up with a tough shot over length by Jizzle James.
Jeremy Roach at the controls, dribbles in front of his head coach, Scott Drew. Ojanwuna has it taken away. Jizzle James, 44-inch vertical on full display there, banging it home.
We'll see if that gets him going. Little points off of your defense. Little jizzle. A jizzle.
And a 13-point advantage now for Baylor. First field goal for Cincinnati in 9 minutes of play. Edgecombe on the left wing. Oh, beautiful! Up and down, and thunder comes down for Ojanwuna.
Really nice job reading the defense. Refused the screen. Good rim run by Ojanwuna, and then Edgecombe holding on to it until the last second. Really nice read.
Skillings has to shoot that 3 over the outstretched arm of Ojanwuna, but no problem.
And Wes Miller in a defensive stance over there saying, it starts with our defense. You've got to stay in front of the ball. It's just been a real hard time for Cincinnati keeping it in front.
Edgecombe off the pick and roll. Nice pass from Roach. As you mentioned, he's been the facilitator so often that the ball's knocked out of bounds.
A really good read. Again, able to turn the corner on Lukosius, and then there's where the defense helps up. And Edgecombe, really nice read of Bandego as he came up to help. Good drop off.
Out of the corner comes Edgecombe. To the basket goes Edgecombe. The finger roll makes it look so easy. Mitchell trying to take advantage in transition. Went for Bendigo, miscommunication, another turnover for the Bearcats. Their 9th of the game. Jaden Nunn been quiet tonight, averaging 13.5 points per game on the season at home. In his 104th straight start. Puts the key in the ignition, has it knocked away. Shot clock down to 1, and the scramble on the floor goes to Cincinnati.
You know, these two bigs up front, Ojanwuna and Omir, play so hard. Play with such a motor.
Point advantage for Baylor, 39-25. Precocious on the left wing. Has been as cold as the weather outside here in Central Texas, and it has been frigid. Skilling's three-point attempt over the basket, out of bounds. Well, and you see on your screen, number 8 Florida upsets Tennessee. How about that score, Chris? 71-43.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's really good, and so I mean, you could see Tennessee losing on the road, but losing by that amount is pretty surprising.
Did somebody knock it off the bus or something? I gotta look into the box score, find out what happened. Edgecombe out of the mid corner, whips it to Omir. Nice rotation to Edgecombe. Launches a 3 way off. James probes over half court, pulls it back out. Skillings. Wow, another 3 over the outstretched arm of Ojanwuna. He's good this half so far.
Oh, and he must be feeling it, because that was a settle. I mean, it's not a quality shot, but at this point,
lead is down to 11, closest it's been in a long time. 8 on the shot clock. Roach looking for answers, now gives some direction. 2 on the shot clock. Step back from the elder statesman, nothing but the bottom of the net.
He's played a nice floor game tonight. Been really under control, has directed the offense, and then found his own when it's been there.
Whistle, and we'll take a quick break. Baylor up.
Showing you the full arsenal tonight. I mean, he's showing you the perimeter shot, hitting contested threes, and then he has shown you the ability to attack. I mean, he's a really good athlete. And as long as he plays athletically, plays downhill, plays with aggression going towards the basket, he can be really tough. Here he's in the open floor, nice spin, and then the creativity in midair. And he shows you he's been hitting the weight room, a little muscle tone.
There's something, I mean, for as long as you've been around the game, as you see those numbers, 13 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. He's got some know-how, you know, just some innate ability to know where he is on the floor, know how to get the ball to guys. It's special.
Yeah, and it's developing, man. Like, you know, I think it's one of those things where these freshmen come in with such reputations, but he's still learning how to play the game.
Good place to learn how to play it under Scott Drew at Baylor. Whistle is blown.
And the thing I think he's starting to buy into, Pete, is on the defensive end. Like, I think his athleticism can really apply there. If he buys into being a defensive stopper, he's already second in the Big 12 in steals, so you know he's active.
Foul was on Edgecombe. He's got 3. So he'll head to the bench, and Rob Wright's in for him. Precocious. Asamoah, hand in his face. Nice defense.
Yeah, really nice job coming over by Asamoah.
Oh, Omir, so quick to activate. Draws 2, finds none. None. Goes into the teeth of the defense and is fouled.
Baylor has just carved up Cincinnati, driving the basketball. This does not look like the Cincinnati defense we saw last year. And, part of it is they don't have Johnny Newman III, who was really their best perimeter defender. But they brought a lot of dudes back from a team that could get in a stance and guard and keep the ball in front. And we just haven't seen that in these 3 Big 12 games that Cincinnati has played.
None at the free throw line, where he's shooting just under 60% on the season. If there's a chink in the armor, that's it. So the senior from Flint, Michigan has one more coming. And you see Saturday, Kansas and Cincinnati, and then Baylor and Arizona State. Splits the free throws. 14-point advantage for Baylor. Pressure extended. Thomas handles it. Dede Thomas with the keys. One of the quickest players in America. Finds Lukosius. Gets the feed again, top of the key, snaps it back. Here's Thomas. Into trouble, but finds Aziz.
Oh, and it started with that pass, happens because of the penetration. The ball stayed on one side of the floor, though. You were wondering if they could get a ball reversal at some point, but a nice job by Thomas.
Bearcats can use a stop here. Lead is 12. Foul. It looks like it's going to be on Rob Wright. Jeffrey Anderson on the spot making the call. So the foul's on Dede Thomas. His third. Rob Wright controls, bodies with Thomas. Into the corner, Jeremy Roach slips it back door to Omier. Omier seemed to hang in the air forever, comes down with it, and goes up for 2.
That's where he plays much bigger than his size. I mean, he's going up over the length, a great shot blocker, Bandego, and still, with that body, able to carve out his space to go up over the top.
Skillings. Got 6 points in the half. We'll work on 2 more.
Chad Omier doing absolute work. He's just going to carve his space, man. Little nudge. A little smooch off the top. He is, I'm telling you, man, an absolute warrior. If you're down a dark alley, you want North Chad Omier with you. He's gotten back to who he is. I think he needed a little bit of a recalibration on shot selection. 10 of his 18 shots in the last 2 games have been threes. And he's 2 of 10, and now he's trying to get folks some cupcakes here. Look at him, he does it all, this guy.
That's right, you see Omier go to the bench, getting the crowd whipped up into a frenzy. Yeah, they'd like some whipped cream maybe on a cupcake or 2, courtesy of Magnolia. That's what happens if an opponent misses 2 straight. Cupcakes all around, folks. And the big smile on the baseline coming from Chip Gaines, who was in attendance. And cupcakes aside, Cincinnati needed those 2 points. Baylor looking for 3 here. Roach from the corner and a foul underneath. Banging for the basketball. Looks like the foul will be on Page.
Your point's a good one, Pete. Lost in the euphoria of the free cupcakes was the missed 2 free throws, to cut the game to 12.
And with the foul on Page, Baylor gets another opportunity. Shot clock starts at 20. Roach starts from the mid-corner, has the ball poked away. Draws 2, trying to get it to Asamoah, taken away by Mitchell. 22nd steal on the season for Mitchell. But his third turnover of the night as he tried to get it backcourt for Hickman.
Yeah, 2 free throws, then you get a stop there. I mean, chances to chip away at this lead, and it, to be honest, it feels more than 14, the way this game is kind of gone.
No, it no question does, yeah. And, you know, Wes Miller doesn't want any of this. And, you know, I'm not making any excuses for him or the team, but they got in late last night, had travel delays out of Cincinnati. Hey, I brought it up to him. He said, hey, that ain't the problem, pal. Nobody's worried about that. 9th turnover, by the way, of the game for Cincinnati. None. Off the dribble. That one hurts if you're a Bearcats fan. Largest lead of the night for Baylor. Hickman, catch release, short. Thomas scrambles for the rebound. Nice hustle play, opens the door for this, and Skillings buries the 3, his 3rd of the half.
He has tried to be aggressive. His 3s have been big.
13 points for Skillings. Edgecombe with the keys. Oh, he is a Ferrari when he has those keys, off the window and good. VJ Edgecombe, his role continues.
You know, sometimes we talk about players getting into a zone shooting it. You can get into a zone driving the ball. Baylor is in that right now. How about that shot in the paint by Edgecombe?
Pete Souza alongside my partner Chris Patola. VJ Edgecombe and the boys looking to salt this one away. But Coach Wes Miller hoping his Bearcats have one more trick or 2 left up their sleeve. And there's the illustration. 49 points total tonight. They had 55 altogether against Iowa State. They're on the right track.
And Iowa State will do that to a lot of teams. You know, Baylor's got to get healthy. They have not been healthy for a long stretch here, and it's affected practice time. It's affected continuity, certainly within game. It affects your depth, giving guys a blow, you know, foul trouble. I mean, the whole thing. They've got to get healthy, but they have played really well tonight.
Here's Jizzle James, has 17 assists over his last 3 games coming in tonight. Does not have a dime yet. And Baylor's defense has been smothered. Knocked away on cue. Another turnover generated. 10th of the night. Edgecombe with the flush. .9-point advantage for Baylor.
And the switching has really bothered Cincinnati. This Baylor defense has been turned up. And it was interesting, we asked Scott Drew today, it's led to this offense off of that defense. We asked Scott Drew today, you know, how do you feel about where your defense is at? Because there was a stretch there where it just wasn't winning defense. And he had a little bit of a smile on his face. He said, we're getting better. And this has been one of their best performances on that end so far this year.
They have generated 12 turnovers. Baylor themselves turning the ball over just 3 times. Here's Rob Wright. He's encountered just about every Cincinnati defender on the way to the hoop. Shots off the mark, but there's Norshad Omier.
And he just abused Arrington Page to grab that board.
13 points for Omier. Here's James. Pedal to the metal on none. A lot of contact. Omier joins the party. Whistle is blown.
He gets fouled there. There's just not. You got to to get off the ball at some point. Look at Amir from the weak side, just kind of big boys. As VJ Edgecombe illustrates, just big boys, Arrington Page.
Foul on Amir is his third. Guy's got a lot going, a lot of good stuff. Got engaged over the course of the Christmas break. I talked to him after that win against Utah. I said, were you nervous when you got engaged? He said, I was a lot less nervous than I was playing in front of 75,000 people in the Final Four. He said, that's my comfort zone. I was even telling the story. A normally very smooth dude had trouble getting it out. It even made him nervous recanting it.
That's when you know love is right, when you're nervous like that. You know, you mentioned the run to the Final Four. They played Houston as a part of that run, Miami did. And after the game, Kelvin Sampson said that Norchad Omier was the strongest player, like physically strongest player they had played all year, and one of the strongest that Kelvin's teams had ever competed against. Just a man-child.
Yeah. A walking double-double. From a superstar senior to a savvy freshman, Rob Wright has the ball knocked away. So the foul's on Page, his second.
You know, we've talked a lot about Edgecombe tonight, but Rob Wright, you know, up until really the last couple games, Rob Wright has been their best freshman. I mean, what he did on the road at UConn, and it was a loss, but he goes for 22 points, 4 assists, and no turnovers in that hostile environment. He plays wise beyond his years, a lot having to do with the fact that he played with on a great high school team. I mean, you know, playing with Cooper Flagg and Liam McNeely, Asa Newell. So he's unfazed by the moment.
Yeah, and I had that chance, like you mentioned, to play at Mount Verdi, and you see him shooting a free throw right next to Dan Skillings, and he battled it out in the Philly Catholic League at the Palestra in the Philly Catholic League playoffs in the Final Four. I asked Rob today, I remember, but I wanted to ask him. I said, who won? He said, we did. Rob's winning again tonight. His team up by 21. Skillings, though, with the keys, working on none. Hangs off the glass, no good. Another rip for Omier. Ojan Wuna cleaning up the offensive glass. 36 points in the paint for Baylor to Cincinnati 6.
It's unbelievable. And those two bigs are always on the offensive glass. Omier and Ojan Wuna.
Precocious. So that's good news. You got 2 points. The bad news is Baylor has hit on just about everything this half as Roach calls for a timeout, and they've made 5 of their last 7 field goals. A lot of work cut out for Wes Miller and his squad. We'll see what they come up with when we come back.
I think Ohio State, Notre Dame will be playing. And I think Ohio State's going to be national champs. And Ryan Day's still going to be on the hot seat, but he may retain his job.
Yeah, they'll have to play Michigan one more time after that, right?
How about you? Who you got?
I like Notre Dame. I'm on the Marcus Freeman train right now. I'm really enjoying the run. As a kid growing up, you know, every day, every Saturday watching Lou Holtz and Notre Dame, I'm kind of enjoying a little nostalgia. .8:20 left here. Cincinnati, if they're going to make a move, it's got to come soon. None. Deep three. Precocious, didn't look pretty, keeps it alive, takes it across half court. Betsy, two-time Connecticut High School Player of the Year. Betsy into a double team, floating with the left hand. Can't get it to fall. Whistle's blown. We'll come back and sort it out. 19-point advantage for Baylor.
I think start to come on here. I think they're figuring out, they put KJ Lewis on the bench. Having him, Caleb Love, and Jaden Bradley in the starting lineup together got a little bit crowded. And then you don't want to see Montavis Krivas go out with that injury, but I think it has given guys a little bit more run, a little bit more definition to that rotation. You saw how they played against Cincinnati the other day, and what a big win on the road.
Yeah, Tommy Lloyd just turning 50 years old last month. This team is rolling right now. Happy birthday, Coach. O'Meara tees up a three. Splash. His roll continues. Ball's knocked away from Lukosius to stay here. We talked about Scott Drew and all he's done for this Baylor program. Keep in mind, he lost two key assistants, as you see Jared Nunez there talking to him. You lose Alvin Brooks in the offseason, you lose John Jacobs. He's done a pretty nice job stabilizing the ship, because in a climate like this one, Chris, with all the transfers and the NIL, it's tough to keep a stable environment, and then you lose two key pieces like that, that's huge.
Two guys who have been with him for a long time. He's got a great staff. He's grown a few of those guys into those assistant positions. See Tweety Carter over there as well. But to lose those two guys is big, especially for a program that is so defined by its culture. To lose the brain power and just the stabilizing impact that AB and John Jacobs had, it's tough.
And that's
previous play is under review.
Adjustment that Baylor will get more and more comfortable with as the season develops. You see Kip Kissinger over there at the scorers table taking another look, and now he gets some help from Michael Greenstein. An official review is underway.
I have a rule: if a game is over 20, no reviews. We don't have to go to running clock, but can we go to no reviews?
After review,
in
the
a
play
blowout?
is confirmed. Shot clock violation.
And there's Wes Miller. Seeing if the ball hit the rim or not. Official word is it did not hit the rim, and the video supports that. So the lead is 23. 13 turnovers tonight for a Cincinnati team averaging just under 10 on the year. And they extend the pressure. That was the third forced shot clock violation of the game. Hitchcomb threads the needle, hangs, and can't finish. Ball gets stuck. O'Meara dislodges it. Jump ball is called.
It's a heck of a move by Edgecombe. Just split city here. Whew. And then he shows you the athleticism, the hang time, and then the atomic wedgie.
Right over your head. Roach, the lob. Ojambuna wisely comes down with the kicks it to none. Clean look at a tray. Lukosius barrels over half court. Whistle is blown. quite possibly got bailed out. Foul was on Rob Wright, his first. Oh, nice. Where's that been all day?
No kidding. That looked good. And that's where the 5 out, you have, you know, an open paint, really good space, and that's where Bandego puts so much pressure on that front of the rim. Just haven't seen it tonight.
Yeah, Coach Miller was quick to tell us he loves Bandego being able to operate in that space with that 5 out set, but we haven't seen enough of that tonight for Cincinnati. 5:20 on the shot clock, 5:20 on the clock, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Roach for Ojanwuna. Does he have enough time? The answer is no.
You know, everybody's running 5 out now. Like the whole world's caught the disease, but there's the high pick. And a nice roll to the front of the rim, and that's where the switch, that's the slip. You know, that's one of those counters to a team that's going to switch. And then that tag help from the weak side comes over late. And that's what Cincinnati, when they're at their best offensively, that's what they're creating.
Skillings likes his odds and rams it home. He beat Ojanwuna and banged it.
He's got to have the ball more. Like, I think he's got to be more aggressive. He only took 3 shots in the first half. At some point, Dan Skillings has to have that dog in him to say, enough's enough, give me the ball. You know, that is the other thing with 5 out is, you know, far too often the wrong guy ends up with it. And he's having to create his own shot. And that's been part of their turnover issues and bad shots. You're putting a ton of pressure on guys who you don't necessarily want having the ball.
Wright's first free throw is good. Breaks a 2-minute and 22-second scoring drought for Baylor. And you know, you keep a team from scoring for almost 2.5 minutes and you don't even put a dent in a big lead like that. Skillings staying aggressive, staying successful.
They're just running him over the top on that little Iverson, and it's not being well defended. Now, your defense, when you're up by 20, can sometimes dip.
15 second half points for Skillings.
But Skillings has been wide open on that set. Here he is, just over the top, and really not well defended by Baylor at all. And you said 4 threes for Skillings?
Yeah. Played for Matt Griffin at Roman Catholic. He's doing a nice job tonight playing for Cincinnati. Speaking of Philly, Rob Wright from Newman Goretti, he misses. Another Philly Catholic League guy, but the mess is cleaned up by Omir, who is fouled. So there's the graphic for Dan Skillings. 5 3-pointers on the night, 5 of 7. Correction on my part, that's a career high.
Yeah, now he's put 3 really good games together. Now they got to start winning, but he is. You know, you've mentioned the Philly angle several times tonight. Is there, other than you being from there?
It's an appreciation. He plays with that grit. And, you know, he is the kind of guy. You mentioned being aggressive, though. Coach Miller said, hey, we've got to be on the edge. We've got to be edgy. And he brings that. If they're going to win, that's what they need to do. A little bit of a heat check there. Too hot inside the paint for him as Edgecombe takes it back outside and resets. Roach denied at the hole. Skillings turns him away. Thomas pirouettes. Wow. Bandego throws it down off the lob. O'Meara from the mid-corner, the low look lob to Ojamuna, who throws it down. Ojamuna comes up gimpy.
Or Chad O'Meara, he's done everything tonight. Mainly, he's been a cheerleader. He got free cupcakes for the crowd earlier in the game. I'll do anything he says, man.
I can go anywhere, do anything I wanna do.
Back at Foster Pavilion, where the atmosphere is celebratory. Baylor looking for their second conference win in 3 tries. Up 66-46 on a Cincinnati team staring down the barrel of dropping 3 straight. Good reason to dance tonight, though, for the crowd at Foster Pavilion. And this crowd could keep dancing. When you look at Baylor's outlook here, or at least their upcoming schedule, you feel good about Arizona State and then Arizona, TCU, Kansas State, and Utah. That's a doable stretch there.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, this is why Scott Drew played the non-conference schedule he did. I mean, you know, you go on the road to Gonzaga, Arkansas. They played in that tournament, St. John's, Tennessee. They went on the road at UConn. They have prepared themselves for Big 12 play. Now, they just got to get healthy. You know, I think that's the next thing if you're Scott Drew you're hoping for.
Another turnover for Cincinnati. At this point, it looks to be academic. 14th on the night. O'Meara controls. He is 1 rebound away from his 76th career double-double. Skillings gathers it in the open court as we come up on 2 minutes here left. Thomas, deep 3 in front of his own bench. Double-double for O'Meara, make it official, 76. What's that number say to you, Chris?
It's unbelievable. It's relentless.
Edgecombe points the way to victory. Loses his footing, somehow stays with the basketball, and diving on the floor in the corner, Dylan Mitchell knocked out of bounds. Substitutions onto the floor in wholesale fashion. This right here, this graphic just jumps off the screen and hits you right in the face.
Well, and he's going to play, he's going to be on an NBA roster. And you look at Kenneth Faried and Malik Rose, like, they fit the body profile of O'Meara. You know, again, O'Meara's only 6'7", but look at him. I mean, he's 76 double-doubles. You are playing outside of yourself, and you are playing outside of your area. I mean, look at that list that he is on. Just incredible. What a career. Now, it's been in 5 years, but still, I mean, just a heck of a list to be a part of.
I mean, truly star-studded company. And it looks like that'll be it for Norshad Omier. And you know, Scott Drew is
After review, the play is confirmed. Shot clock violation.
Give him a little vote of approval there, but he's got to feel good about tonight. You know, he had basically dealing with like a 7-man rotation, and he's able to come here or withstand any run at home, and his team looks like they might win by 20 points or more. And he talked to us before the game. He said, when you're kind of down guys-wise, down numbers, you can get a little juice from that home crowd, help you get out to an early start. And Baylor fell behind on the road against Iowa State, so maybe that was an assist tonight.
You know, I've done enough Baylor games that I've started to speak Scott Drew. Because he's always smiling, he's always happy. So you have to be able to read him a little bit. There was a determination to Scott Drew today. Even through the smiling and the cheer, he's such positivity. You could tell there was a little bit of a determined version of Scott Drew today.
He did have the eye of the tiger, run and shoot around and stuff and coming over. He was very much a man of purpose today, and it seems to have paid off. Adekbola off the bench has it taken away. Here's Reed. Bangs it home. Rob Wright with 7 points, and 3 rebounds and 2 assists. We'll hold on to this one as the crowd that's still left here on their feet, applauding Scott Drew and his team's effort tonight. As a little bit of red tape here, 0.8 seconds left. And cupcakes are coming for the fans, thanks to a couple missed free throws. And
where do you pick those up?
I think Magnolia, I think. No?
You gotta go all the way over there? They don't...
I don't know. I don't want to be wrong about that. So go ahead and get on www.baylor.com. I'm sure it's somewhere there.
Free.
Yeah. Norshad Omier really delivered tonight. And that'll do it. 10th straight win at home for a program that 4 straight years has been a top 3